Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this module titled Nuts and Bolts, which will hopefully provide you with important information as we get ready for the start of the 22-23 school year. First and most importantly, we know how powerful it is to welcome our students back for the school year and to build positive relationships. Building strong relationships begins the moment our students walk through the door of our building and into our classrooms. So it is really important to be clear around expectations for all staff members as we begin the school year, especially as it relates to being present and engaged. School entrances, hallways, and doorways are our chance to model for our students what healthy interactions look like. As a school, we're committed to building meaningful relationships with students by standing at our classroom door and greeting and welcoming students into our classrooms. We're not there just to prevent something from going awry. We are there because we care about our students and we want to connect with them in as many ways as possible. So we're at our doors by 8 a.m., greeting and welcoming students. It's also important that we engage with students in the halls proactively and responsively. Our presence is more than just hallway transitions. It applies to all duties. We have an incredible opportunity to model a connected community when students step off the bus, walk through the doors or down the hall, and as they exit the building to head home. Our presence is also a chance to model how people should interact with each other. If we notice students are not interacting appropriately, it's our chance to model and give students an opportunity to practice again. We get to teach, redirect, and encourage students every moment they're in the building, and students notice. They notice if we aren't in the halls. They notice if we aren't greeting them. They notice if we aren't trying to interact with them and build relationships. Our presence must be consistent. We have to do it every day. When we are consistently in the hallways reminding students of expectations, we create an environment in which no student falls through the cracks. If a student is walking down the hall and along the way 5 different teachers remind them of the expectations, they will realize that they are noticed, they are seen, and expectations are important. And we might even annoy them into compliance. I get it. Some days you're tired, burned out, or just not feeling it. However, when we stay consistent with our own presence, and our presence as a cohesive staff, it makes all the difference to our students and to each other. At the end of the day, we say goodbye to our students as they exit the classroom and help supervise them as they exit the building. Once the hallways are clear and buses have been dismissed, we can leave for the day. Simply said, we do not beat the buses out. For those of you who have first or last period planning, remember that being present and engaged means that we are all here to support our students throughout the entire day. Another way we build strong relationships with our students is through our W4 advisory period. W4 is another powerful opportunity to build relationships and model being part of a community. In addition, it also provides us the opportunity to clarify expectations of our students and share and cultivate our values. It is essential that we all take advantage of the lessons created and that we commit to doing them well. Feedback from our end-of-year survey last year showed that both teachers and students would appreciate having common language around school-wide behavior expectations. So this summer, we worked to develop some of that common language, called our Adams Agreements. We will be using W4 lessons to share, discuss, and reinforce these expectations. So it's important that we all fully engage in the W4 lessons every day. As we saw over the past 2 years, when we commit to taking the time to build relationships with each of our families through direct communication, the dividends are huge. Our students start their very first day knowing they have a connection with a caring adult. Please use the W4 outreach script on the virtual opening to connect with each of your W4 students and welcome them back into the building. I know that the idea of picking up the phone might be daunting, especially because many of our students live in a home where the language spoken is something other than English. In the past, we heard over and over again the frustration of trying to secure a translator in order to communicate with a family. Once again this year, we have been able to secure a contract with United Language Group to assist with translating. This group provides access to translators for over 200 languages. All you have to do is call ULG, let them know what language you need. Then they will add the parent to your call and interpret the conversation. The phone number and access code are linked in the script on the virtual opening. As we mentioned before, we know how important and powerful it is when we welcome students, communicate high expectations, and support students in meeting those expectations. So we have created teams to help support students who struggle. Last year, we developed MTSS teams who ensured we had a systematic school-wide process that utilized data and decision guidelines to identify student needs, provide individualized support, and monitor student progress. However, we received feedback that the MTSS teams were not focused enough to be as effective as we would have liked. So we've made some tweaks to our student support system. We found that the MTSS coordinators last year were not so much coordinating the work of building-wide MTSS, but rather coordinating support for individual students. So to provide clarity, we've renamed this position to be Student Support Coordinators. This reflects the much narrower focus our coordinators will have this year. Different from last year, our coordinators will focus on a pre-identified caseload of students. These students were identified over the summer using data from the previous 3 school years. Just like the way a special education case manager will coordinate support for the students on their caseload, like arranging IEP meetings, checking in with teachers to monitor progress, and ensuring that accommodations are used effectively. Similarly, the student support coordinators will arrange parent conferences, check in with teachers on student progress, and ensure that interventions are put into place for the students on their caseload. You might be thinking to yourself, well, that's great for the kids who are pre-identified, but how will students who are not on the list get support if they need it? Please continue to use the student support referral to request support for students who are in need. When a referral is submitted, both administrators and counselors will be notified, and they will ensure that a student receives the support needed, whether the concern is of a behavioral, academic, or wellness nature. As a reminder, when you submit a student support referral for a behavior concern, there are 3 levels. Level 1 is used for documentation purposes. This means that the teacher has addressed the behavior in the classroom. This could mean that they had a conversation with the student, reminded them of the expectations, and maybe changed their seat. In addition, it is always important to contact home. The Level 1 referral is used for documentation purposes. This is so we can see when a pattern is starting to form, and if necessary, take steps to address small but persistent issues before they get bigger. When teachers submit a Level 1 referral, they will receive a copy of their responses to their FCPS Gmail. But because it is for documentation purposes only, they will most likely not receive any follow-up communication from administrators or counselors. A Level 2 referral is submitted when you've addressed the behavior in class by working with the parent and the student, but you are starting to see a pattern, or the behavior is escalating. In other words, a Level 2 referral is submitted for documentation, but also to request a little bit of backup in your conversation with the student. When you submit a Level 2 referral, an administrator will follow up with the student over the next couple of days and circle back with you to let you know about their conversation. A Level 3 referral is used for the more serious offenses. These are things you would think of writing a traditional discipline referral for. For Level 3 referrals, administrators will follow up with the student as soon as possible and update the teacher on their conversation via email. We know how important and powerful it can be to partner with our students' families. So every time you submit a student support referral, please also contact the parent to let them know what's going on. Working together to help our students navigate challenges is how we will be most effective. Don't forget, if you need language support to call home, we have access to United Language Group for live interpretation services. Once again this year, lockers will be issued by request only, starting in the 2nd week of school. A form will be provided for students to use to request a locker through a W4 lesson. And again, this year, each classroom will receive 1 hall pass for students to use for quick trips. In response to feedback, the passes will be color-coded by the area of the building: pink for downstairs, yellow for upstairs, and green for the mod and trailers. Please continue to use paper passes for longer trips or if you do not anticipate the student will return. For example, if they are sick and going to the clinic. A stack of paper passes has been placed in your mailbox. Again, this year we will continue to use a rolling gradebook with the final exam equaling 10%. For information on how to set up your rolling gradebook, please see the virtual opening. Because of the shift to a summative gradebook, with the summative assessments making up 90% of a student's grade and the formative assessments making up 10%, in order to meet the division guidelines of no single assignment making up more than 20% of a student's grade, teams should plan at least 5 summative assessments over the course of the year. Last year, when we used a rolling gradebook, many found that as the end of the year approached, assignments were no longer impacting students' grades in the way they should. This is because as more assignments are added to the gradebook, the value of each individual assignment goes down. For this reason, it is recommended that teachers and teams plan to enter no more than 8 summative assessments into the gradebook throughout the year. In addition, teams should plan for a minimum of 8 formative assessments of the course for the year. Formative assessments have no recommended maximum. If you have questions about how to apply these guidelines, please work with your team, coach, or administrator. We also received feedback from students that it would be helpful if comment codes were consistent across all classes. So this year, we ask that you follow the instructions on Info Central to set your gradebook comment codes to NYP and MI. NYP stands for Not Yet Proficient. This means that the student attempted the assignment but scored below a 50%. MI is for Missing. This means that the student has not yet attempted the assignment. Both scores have a value of 50%, and both are removed when scored. As a reminder, our leadership groups decided that, as a school, we will not use zeros as placeholders for missing work. Like in past years, CTs will finalize the syllabus using the syllabus template for each course. This year, you will be posting your syllabus in Schoology for your students and parents to view. We encourage you to support students and parents in finding the document online. As a school, we are not going to require parents to sign the syllabus, and we will not assign a grade for reviewing or signing the syllabus. FCPS has updated guidelines around what kind of activities are permitted on religious or cultural observance days. There are 6 days designated in the FCPS calendar as religious and cultural observances. In order to prioritize instruction while honoring the religious and cultural observances which have not been designated as school holidays, they have made changes to the regulation. New material can now be introduced on religious and cultural observance days, provided that content is made accessible in Schoology and teachers connect with absent students. In addition, graded assignments or activities may happen on the cultural and religious observance days, as long as there are opportunities for students who are absent to make up the assignment. Next up, subplans. Whenever possible, please enter absences into SmartFind as soon as you know you will be out. Please also reach out directly to your favorite substitutes to ask them to pick up the job in SmartFind. Then email your admin, coach, and department chair to let them know about your absence. Share your plans with co-teachers, department chairs, and your CT lead. And as always, don't forget to enter your leave in My Time. Subplans should contain rosters with student IDs, detailed lesson plans, and a schedule with room numbers and lunch information. This year, more than ever, it will be important to take accurate attendance. The admin team will be monitoring our no-show list to ensure that any students missing on the first day of school will be provided the necessary and timely outreach to try to get them in through our doors. This will be a team effort and require accurate attendance. For the first week of school, we are asking that attendance be entered into SIS within the first 15 minutes of each class period. After the first 15 minutes of every class, the attendance team will be running attendance reports. In order for those reports to be as accurate as possible, we ask that you take attendance during those first 15 minutes. During the first 15 minutes of class, please be sure to mark any student who is not there or who arrives late with the appropriate code. UNV means unverified. This is when a student is not in your class and their location is unverified. EXT means the student was tardy with an appropriate reason, unexcused tardy. UNT is for an unexcused tardy. As a reminder, students may receive one of 3 passes from the attendance office. When students arrive to school more than 30 minutes late, they will need to check in with the attendance office so that their parents do not receive the automated call informing them of an absence. From the attendance office, they will either receive a yellow unexcused tardy pass or a blue excused tardy pass. When the student arrives to your class, please welcome them, then mark them in SIS with the appropriate code. If a student knows they will be leaving from school early, for example, if they have a doctor's appointment in the afternoon, they will receive a purple pass. This pass will show the time the student should be excused from class. At the time indicated on the purple pass, the student should report to the attendance office to check out of school. In addition to attendance passes, students who want to go to the library during lunch will need to get a pass from the cafeteria. If they plan to stay in the library for the remainder of the lunch period, they will turn in their library passes to the librarian. If a student is only using the library for a short period and then plans on returning to the cafeteria, they will hold on to the pass and give it to the administrator in the cafeteria upon their return. If a student wishes to use the library outside of lunchtime, they can get a pass from their teacher or use the library before or after school. Last year, we also got a lot of feedback around student accountability when it came to getting to class on time. To help address this, we are going to bring back tardy sweeps. In order to do this, teachers and staff will be asked to report to their hallway location for the first 10 minutes of their planning period so that they can escort any students who are in the hallway back to class. There will be no documentation required. We are only asking staff to have caring conversations with students as they walk to class and to remind the teacher to mark the student tardy in SIS. Additionally, we received feedback last year about the imbalance of workload among teachers who teach Pride Time and those who teach Study Hall, as well as teachers who participate in CTs and those who don't. In order to better balance that workload, we will be asking teachers who do not regularly meet in their CT and or who do not teach an intervention Pride Time to support tardy sweeps during their planning periods. Now let's talk about W4. We're excited to share some updates to our W4 lessons. Each White Day, W4 teachers will conduct W4 lessons. These lessons are available on Info Central on the W4 Pride Time page. The lessons are differentiated by grade level. Links to each day's lesson can be found on the W4 lesson calendar. Last year, we received a lot of feedback around ways that we could improve our use of W4 to better foster a sense of belonging among our students. So we are going to make 2 adjustments to how we use W4. First, we've partnered with Project Wayfinder, a company out of Stanford's D School, to improve the quality and intentionality of our W4 lessons. We also heard feedback that many students do not have opportunities to participate in clubs and activities outside of the school day. We know how important student connection to school beyond the classroom is. So on the first White Monday of each month, we will provide students with an opportunity to attend club meetings and activities during W4. More information will be shared in the coming weeks. Many of you have asked about when students will receive their laptops. This year, laptops will be distributed on the first day of school through W4 via a special schedule. On Monday, we will begin the day with a 30-minute W4 period, followed by a regular Red Day schedule. In preparation, the tech team will deliver the following to each W4 classroom: laptops, chargers, and a roster. The laptops will be labeled with the student's name. The student indicated on the label is responsible for turning that same laptop in at the end of the year. It is important that you only give the computer to the students whose name is on the label. Please also give 1 charger to each student who is issued a laptop. And finally, the roster will indicate all of your W4 students. Some students may not be issued a laptop because they still have one from last year. These will be indicated on the roster. As you distribute the laptops and chargers, please place a check mark next to the name of each student who was given a laptop and charger. You will return this roster and any remaining equipment to the tech office on Tuesday. More detailed information will be shared as we approach the first day of school. Well, I hope that you found this module useful and you feel ready to begin the week with your students. If you have any questions, please reach out to your administrator. Don't forget to take some time this weekend to refresh and recharge in your favorite ways. And thank you for all that you have done this week to prepare Adam Nation for a fantastic school year.